second review is one that I'm not too happy about. And that is Hocus Pocus and the all-new sequel. Now, this book is split into two parts. It's split into the first part, which is a novelization of the film, which I loved. I gave it 5. Yes, I would give it 5 stars. But then part 2 is the sequel. The only bad thing is that the novelization of the film is only like the first third of the book, and the second 2/3 is the sequel, which I hated. I liked some elements, like I liked that the Sandersons have a 4th sister that is like a good witch and wants to do good things and just wanted to like be married and raise her daughter and be a baker, and I admired that. I loved that. I loved how they brought back Emily and Binks, because Binks is my favorite character. I freaking love Binks. I even named one of my stuffed animals after Binks, and we were gonna name my roommate's cat Binks, but she wouldn't let me because it wasn't my cat. Instead, her name is Jinx, which is the rhythm guitarist of Black Belt Brides. But disregard that tangent. Anyway, where to begin? I guess I should begin with Poppy, which is Max Dennison and Allison's daughter. I didn't like her that much. I didn't like the love interest, Isabella. Didn't like her. I loved Travis, though. He was very, like, punny and clever, and I loved him so much. I loved Katie, which is Jay's, the bully from the first movie. It's his daughter, and she's sassy and a bitch, and I loved her so much. And in the end, Poppy and her end up being friends through what happens in the sequel. Now on to things that I hated. I guess the number one thing that I hated was the characters didn't seem like they did in the film. Like, Max grows up to be a history teacher. I didn't find that convincing. Jay, the bully, ends up being the school principal. Didn't find that convincing. What else did I not like? Oh yes, there is like a little song, not Sarah's song, that does come into play in the sequel. Her "Come Little Children" song that I love. There's this song that like Mary like sings to herself while she's like walking down the street or whatever after Winnie's like yelled at her or called her an idiot or something. And I didn't like that because I'm like, this is not the first movie, because I understand why they put it in the novelization of the movie in the first part, because it was in the movie. Hocus Pocus doesn't have a film sequel. So I was like, this is stupid. Why is this in here? I don't know the tune to this. What does this sound like? I did not like that at all. I didn't find the romance between Poppy and Isabella convincing. It kind of felt like Disney was like, oh, LGBTQ is like a thing now, and we didn't have, because back, I mean, come on, the movie was made in like 1990, so being gay and a person of color wasn't really the biggest thing back in the 90s and wasn't really accepted that much. So I felt like Disney with this book was like ticking boxes. Okay, 2 black characters, check. One of the black characters is a love interest, check. The main character is a lesbian, check. I feel like they were just like going down a checklist. I mean, I'm all for like most people, for diversity in books, but I felt like this was really forced and it was not necessary. They could have, I don't know, but it wasn't convincing. I didn't buy it. I was like, this is bullshit or whatever. Let's see, what else did I not like? I didn't like a lot of things. about this book. I don't know. Like, if I had to give this a rating for part 2, it would be like a 2. But altogether, that would average out to like a 3.5. So I guess I gave it a 3.5. I gave it a 3 on Goodreads because you can't really do half stars. So, yeah. I didn't like this book, and I really, really wanted to. There were some good elements, like if they were going to make this into a film, I would suggest they change certain things and leave certain things in. Like, the plot was rather good. There was just one thing. I was like, you don't play with the frickin' Ouija board in the Sanderson house. Like, are you freaking stupid? I can't with this book. I don't even want... I'll keep it and it'll stay on my shelves, but purely for part 1. I will never read the sequel again. So yeah, those are my thoughts on Hocus Pocus and the all-new sequel. I started reading Mirage by... I can't pronounce her name because it's an Indian name and I'm afraid I'm going to butcher it really, really badly. But as I started reading it, I realized that it actually fit into my TBR very well because it's based on, like, some weird planet that's occupied by, like, some other species or whatever. But I do like it. It's a bit cliche in places because I've seen the whole, like, pretend to be somebody else thing done a lot in films and movies, so I'm hoping that this is different. It's book 1 in a series, so I guess we'll see after I'm done with the first one if I want to continue in that series, but I actually really like it, which I'm surprised, because I don't do sci-fi. I don't do aliens, I don't do monsters, I don't do anything like that, so I'm actually really surprised that I like it, so I'm going to continue with that. Talk to you guys later. Bye!